Ich halte diese Kriegführung für berechtigt und habe nach meinem Gewissen gehandelt. Ich möchte das genauso wieder tun.
Two submarines, one convoy, 0 survivors who saw it coming. On the night of May 4th, 1943, somewhere in the Atlantic west of Spain, 2 German U-boats were racing toward the same target. Same Wolfpack, same orders, same darkness. They found each other instead. Both boats went down in minutes. 84 men died. The convoy they were hunting sailed on without ever knowing either submarine existed. This is the War Archives, where we tell the stories of the Second World War that most people never hear. If you want more stories like this one, subscribe now and hit the bell. Now let's go back to 1943. Karl Dönitz had a problem he never fully solved. By May 1943, he had 240 operational submarines. It was the largest U-boat fleet Germany had ever put to sea. 118 of them were on patrol at any given moment, spread across the Atlantic in patrol lines, stretching hundreds of miles. The Wolfpack system he had built from scratch was simple in theory. Submarines spread across a convoy route. First boat to sight a convoy became the Shadower. It did not attack. It broadcast position, heading, and speed to headquarters in Berlin. Headquarters relayed the information to every other submarine in range. Within hours, boats were converging from 50, 100, 200 miles away. Then they attacked. At night. On the surface. This surprises people. The image most people have of a U-boat is underwater. Quiet. Invisible. But the submarine that nearly won the Battle of the Atlantic spent most of its time on the surface. Underwater, a Type 7 boat could manage 4 knots. On the surface, 17. British sonar only worked against submerged targets. A surfaced U-boat at night was nearly invisible against the noise of a convoy's own engines. Otto Kretschmer understood this better than anyone alive. He was the most successful U-boat commander of the entire war. 46 ships sunk. 270,000 tons of Allied shipping destroyed. His method was not to attack from outside the convoy. He drove his boat directly inside it, into the columns, among the merchant ships, surfaced, at night, firing at close range, sometimes 600 meters, at targets so close he could see sailors on the decks he was about to kill. 1 torpedo, 1 ship, that was his rule. The escorts could not stop him. British sonar worked against submerged submarines. Kretschmer was not submerged. He was right there among the ships they were supposed to be protecting, invisible in the dark. But Kretschmer's method exposed a flaw that Dönitz never fixed. Once the attack began, every commander was on his own. Dönitz controlled the approach. He directed submarines toward the convoy. He timed the initial contact. But the moment the first torpedoes fired, radio silence was absolute. One transmitted signal could be detected by Allied direction-finding equipment. The British called it Huff-Duff. It could triangulate a submarine's position in minutes and send a destroyer straight to it. So each boat attacked alone, in the dark, at speed, with no way to know where any other boat in the Wolfpack was. This had always been a problem. In 1940 and 1941, when Wolfpacks were 3 and 4 boats, it barely mattered. By 1943, packs were 15 and 20 submarines converging on the same convoy in the same night. 20 boats. No shared picture, no radio, no lights. Just darkness, diesel engines, and the assumption that the shape ahead of you was a merchant ship. U-439 left Brest on April 27, 1943. Her commander was Oberleutnant Helmut von Tippelskirch, 26 years old. his first command, 4 patrols and no ships sunk. In the U-boat arm, that was the kind of record that followed you. Not disgraced, not incompetent, just unlucky in a war where luck was the difference between an ace and a name on a memorial wall. U-439 was a Type 7C, 220 feet of steel, around 50 men, 14 torpedoes. She had been laid down in Danzig in October 1940 and commissioned in December 1941. She had spent the better part of 2 years at war and had nothing to show for it. She was assigned to Wolfpack Drossel, the German word for thrush, 12 submarines, ordered to find a southbound convoy and destroy it. U-659 had left Brest 5 days earlier, April 22nd. Her commander, Oberleutnant Hans Stock, had been in submarines since 1941, 5 patrols, 7 Wolfpacks, 1 ship sunk, 3 damaged. He had survived the worst convoy battles of the entire war without losing his boat. That experience matters. Stock was not a novice. He had been in Wolfpack attacks where the escorts came hunting, where depth charges walked up behind you in the dark, where boats in the same pack disappeared, and headquarters never found out why until the war was over. He knew what a night surface attack felt like. He knew how fast everything moved. He knew that in the dark, the Atlantic was not a safe place to make assumptions. On May 3rd, 1943, both boats received the same operational update from headquarters. Convoy located, southbound, attack ordered, all Drossel boats to converge. Neither commander knew where the other boat was. Imagine you are on the bridge of U-439 at night, the Atlantic west of Spain. No moon or near enough to no moon that it makes no difference. You are moving at speed. Your diesels are running. The hydrophone operator below you reported convoy noises hours ago, and they have been getting louder. The convoy is close. You are scanning the horizon. You are looking for ship silhouettes, masts against the stars, the white foam of a bow wave. You are not looking for another German submarine because another German submarine should not be here. The patrol sectors assigned by headquarters put each boat in a different position. Should not be. That phrase is doing a lot of work tonight. The shape appears. You don't know what it is. It is dark, and it is moving, and it is directly in your path. In the half-second, you have to decide. You cannot identify it as a submarine. You cannot identify it as German. You cannot do anything except hold on. Both boats were on the surface. Both were running at speed. The combined closing velocity of 2 submarines moving toward each other in the dark was enough that when they hit, the sea came in immediately. A Type 7 submarine is not built to survive ramming. The pressure hull is designed for depth, for the uniform weight of deep water pressing evenly against its curved surface. It is not designed for the concentrated impact of another submarine's bow. Both hulls buckled. Both boats began flooding. At this depth, in these conditions, flooding cannot be stopped in the time available. Von Tippelskirch had minutes. Stock had minutes. The convoy they had been hunting was still out there. The escorts heard nothing. There was no explosion loud enough to register, no distress signal because radio silence still applied, no way for any other boat in the Wolfpack to know what had happened. 2 submarines, gone. U-439 sank with 40 of her crew. 9 men survived. U-659 sank with 44. 3 survived. 12 men in the water west of Spain. 84 dead. The convoy continued south. Every merchant ship on it arrived at its destination. Not one sailor aboard those ships ever knew that 2 German submarines had destroyed each other in the dark while hunting them. Dönitz's headquarters listed both boats as missing. For weeks, the cause was unknown. It was not until British naval intelligence interrogated the 12 survivors, the report stamped secret and filed in June 1943, that the full picture became clear. 2 boats from the same Wolfpack, following the same orders, hunting the same convoy, they had killed each other. The collision between U-439 and U-659 was not unique in kind, only an outcome. The Wolfpack system had always carried this risk, and by May 1943, the risk was increasing for reasons that had nothing to do with U-boat navigation. The problem was numbers. In the peak convoy battles of March 1943, Wolfpacks of 15 and 20 submarines had attacked single convoys. The more boats in a pack, the smaller the margin for independent action. Boats converged from multiple directions at night, each following its own attack track, each assuming the others were somewhere else. You cannot radio your position during an attack. You cannot ask headquarters where Boat 7 is. You watch for shapes in the dark, and you assume that anything shaped like a ship is an Allied merchant. On May 4th, 1943, that assumption was wrong. The broader picture of that same month makes the collision between U-439 and U-659 even more significant. May 1943 was not just the month 2 German submarines killed each other. It was the month the entire Wolfpack campaign collapsed. Between April 29th and May 6th, Wolfpack boats attacked Allied convoy ONS-5 in the North Atlantic. They sank 12 merchant ships, but the escort group defending that convoy sank 6 submarines in return and damaged 7 others. It was the first time a convoy's escorts had inflicted heavier losses on the Wolfpack than the Wolfpack had inflicted on the convoy. That ratio was never supposed to be possible. Wolfpacks worked because the convoy could not defend all sides simultaneously. Now the math had shifted. The new technologies arriving in Allied hands were part of it. Centimetric radar that U-boats could not detect. Long-range aircraft closing the gap in the mid-Atlantic that had once been safe hunting ground. The Hedgehog, a weapon that fired multiple contact charges ahead of an escort ship, allowing attacks on submarines that had not yet been driven to the surface. Acoustic homing torpedoes that could chase a diving submarine without a crew to aim them. But the Wolfpacks were also being defeated by their own structural problems. Too many boats, too little coordination once the attack began. The same darkness and radio silence that had protected German submarines from Allied detection was now preventing German submarines from protecting themselves from each other. Dönitz knew it. On May 24th, 1943, he issued the order that every U-boat commander in the North Atlantic had been dreading. The Wolfpacks were being withdrawn. North Atlantic convoy operations were suspended. The submarine force he had built over 6 years of preparation and 3 years of war was pulling back from the main theater of the Battle of the Atlantic. His officers called it the Stalingrad of the U-boat arm. One of them wrote that in May alone they had lost one in 4 of their operational submarines, 42 boats, 1,832 men, among them 84 from U-439 and U-659, whose loss was not a battle, was not a heroic last stand, was not even an enemy's doing. The convoy ONS-5 battle, the losses to escort ships, the new aircraft, and the new weapons. Dönitz analyzed all of it in his after-action reports. He identified radar. He identified air coverage. He identified the new weapons on Allied escort ships. He did not identify the deeper problem, that a system built on independent judgment and radio silence, effective when the packs were small and the sea was vast, had become a danger to itself when 20 submarines converged on the same target in the same night. The Wolfpack had always assumed that each commander would find his own attack position in the dark. In 1940 and 1941, When packs were 3 and 4 boats, this worked. By 1943, when packs were 15 and 20, the Atlantic was not big enough for the Assumption to hold. U-439 and U-659 were not exceptional. They were not the result of unusual incompetence or unusually bad luck. They were the logical endpoint of a coordination system that had never solved the problem of what happens when multiple submarines arrive at the same point in the dark. Oberleutnant Helmut von Tippelskirch was 26 years old, his first command. He had taken a boat with bad luck through 4 patrols, survived Wolfpack attacks, depth charges, and the worst convoy battles of the war. He did not survive May 4th, 1943. Hans Stock had been in submarines since 1941. He had been in 7 Wolfpacks. He knew the North Atlantic better than almost any man still living who had spent time in it. He did not survive May 4th either. The 12 men who did survive were pulled from the Atlantic and taken to Britain. British naval intelligence interviewed them carefully. The report they produced was thorough and dry and classified. It described the collision in the terms available: both boats on the surface, both converging, both gone. The exact moment, the seconds between seeing the other submarine and the impact, did not make it into the record. The men who survived were not on the bridge. The men on the bridge did not survive. The wreck positions of U-439 and U-659 are recorded as approximately 43 degrees north, 13 degrees west, west of Cape Ortegal, Spain. Deep Atlantic water. Both boats are still there. The convoy they were hunting reached Gibraltar. The sailors aboard it never wrote home about the night 2 German submarines destroyed each other in the dark, because they never knew. Somewhere on the seabed west of Spain, 2 Type 7C submarines lie within a few miles of each other. They left the same port within days of each other. They followed the same orders. They died because the system that sent them to the same place gave neither of them any way to know the other was there. 84 men. The Wolfpack called Drossel. May 4th, 1943. Now you know what happened. If this story stayed with you, hit the like button. That one click tells YouTube this story matters and puts it in front of people who have never heard it. Subscribe to the War Archives and turn on notifications. We post new stories every week, and not one of them is made up. Drop a comment and tell us where you are watching from. We read every single one. Von Tippelskirch was 26 years old. He never sank a ship. Now you know his name. Thank you for watching.